This conference
whenever
will
the
now be
user,
recorded.
okay, because of the HTTP statelessness, whenever the user logs in into any server, server will create a token, okay, or session ID to the particular user, and that token and that session ID will be sent to the client browser, right? And whenever they are accessing the same server next time, they will go with this token ID which is assigned by the server, and server will identify that, okay, this user is uh, you know XYZ user who is already authenticated with us. So don't ask any credentials for him. Okay, just serve whatever the information he is looking for. So this token is only something which is been validated from the server end, right? And this token will help the server to identify the user and maintain the authentication and session records. So in the session hijacking attack, what will happen is, okay, so attacker will steal this valid token which is being generated and sent by the server by performing some attacks. Maybe if the application is vulnerable for any SSL attacks, so they will sniff the tokens in a clear text. Or if in case if there is any misconfigurations in the server side, where the token is not getting expired after user logout also, okay, or if in case if the server is generating the weak sessions, okay, or guessable sessions with any sequence, even that can also be cracked. Okay, so by performing some of the attacks, so attacker will get this valid session. So with the help of this valid token, you know directly the attacker will craft a malicious request to the server. So if the server receives this valid token from the user, the server will think that he is only the legitimate user, right? Attacker only the legitimate user. So what will happen now? The web server will serve all the details belongs to the user to the attacker without even asking the credentials. Then we'll be able to get into the user session, right? So session hijacking is possible. Then we are luring into the valid session of someone else user, right? Got my point? So this is how the session hijacking will happen. So if you're clear with this, then I can show you the practical example how these tokens will be created, and how the tokens will be gathered by the attacker, and how they reuse this session, how they reuse these tokens to create a valid session to get into the victim account without giving the passwords. Is this clear, guys, theoretically? Okay, so I'm going to show this attack with the help of the the testing website, that is testphp.vulnerweb.com. So I'll be opening that over here. Okay, even you can use this for the testing purpose. I'll just paste this link in the chat. So this is an intentionally created vulnerable web application. It has all these session related issues also. Okay, then let me start my verb suite. Having some errors. Okay, let me start another one which I had. So I'm starting the Bob suite, guys. Okay, to just show you how the sessions will be created once you log in into the any server. So yeah, Bob is up. So let me start the Bob with the default settings. Yep. So Bob suite is running over here, and here also intercept proxy is enabled. Okay, so I'm enabling and disabling the proxy with the help of this proxy extension. Like instead of manually going and changing the proxy values in the browser, this will help us directly, to enable and disable the proxy at any moment. So now let me open this website, testing website, and let us go to the inspect first. Okay, and let's check whether do we have the any cookies, okay, or any session um, values in the browser. You can see now there is no cookies related to this website, right? But as soon as you logged in over here by providing the valid credentials, which is test and test for this website, now what will happen? You can see there is a cookie called login, and here is the session ID value belongs to this domain, and I am entered into this website. Now I can see that logged out test, right? And as soon as I send any request to access any guest book or card, you can see still I am logged in. It is not asking the password because every time the request is carrying this cookie values to the server. Okay. Now, okay, let's understand the same process with the help of the Bob suite. So I'm logging out. You can see that cookie got like automatically, erased from the browser. Cookie got expired. Now let me enable the Bob suite over here, and let's go to the proxy. The intercept proxy is enabled. Let me disable this intercept proxy for some time. Okay, we'll enable when we are doing the authentication. So sign up, give the test and test. Okay. Now, before sending these credentials to the server, let me enable the intercept proxy. So you can see I'm sending the credentials to the server in the request. Let me also intercept the response by clicking on do intercept response for this request and forward this request. See what happened? Authentication is successfully happened. Server is saying that set this. Okay. Server is saying that set this. So if I do intercept on, this will go to the browser. You can see the cookie is in the browser. Next time, when you make a request to any page, the cookie details will be in the request. Okay, it will be carrying to the server. So this cookie is only something which is, helping the server to understand who the user is. Okay, I mean, it is only something, which is helping the server to authenticate and identify the user. Okay, so now he is a test user. So this is a test user cookie. So if this cookie goes in a wrong hand, there are many different types of attacks which we already learned in the previous sessions, right? Sniffing is a one. So if anyway, you can see these guys are not using any SSL certificate. So all the values will be transmitted between the client and server in the clear text. Okay, with the cookie value also. So attacker will capture the cookies and they will reuse these cookies, or else you can see this cookie is also not up to the standards. Okay, OAuth standards. the cookie length should be at least 16 to okay, more than 16 digits, I guess, 16 bytes. But now if you see, it's just 8 to 9 bytes only. Okay, this is also not to the standard, and the cookie value also have the username and password details in it. Okay, it should not be like that, right? And easily they can guess it and brute force this cookie to log in into the someone else user. Okay, now let's say that this cookie is being gathered by an attacker while doing the sniffing. Okay, so in the sniffing we learned, right, how to uh, sniff the credentials. So similar way, these cookies can be gathered with the help of the cross-site scripting also. I'll show you that with the help of the cross-site scripting how we can able to gather the cookies. Now let's assume that we have performed some cross-site scripting. We stolen this valid cookies from the user. Okay, we got this cookie values. Okay, of the test user. Okay, so in different browser, okay, in different browser, let's say I'm logged off now. Okay, in different browser, attacker will use uh, you know this cookie manager application. Do you know this? We have this cookie manager application. This one, the cookie manager application, where you can store some cookies in the browser. So I'm going to this cookie manager application, new cookie. I'm adding the target URL over here. Okay, this is the target URL. So attacker will simply add the URL over here, and he will add the cookie name. Cookie name would be this one, login. Okay, so I'll just add login as a cookie name and value. Okay, value is this one, and he will save it. Simply, he will save it, guys. So cookie is saved in the browser now. Okay, and you can see I'm not logged in into the test user. You can see the cookie is saved in the browser. Right? Now, if this guy is making any request to maybe artist page or any page, automatically the request will go with the valid cookie, and server will consider that this user is a test user, and it says that you are already logged in. See, I'm able to log in into the test user without providing the credentials, with only the help of this cookie values which are given by the server. Understand? Why this attack is happen is that uh, after doing log off from the server, okay, server is not expired the cookie. Okay, after doing log out from the server didn't expire the cookie value. Okay, the cookie value is same. Okay, it didn't destroy it. That's the reason wherever I reuse that same cookie value after doing log off also, I'm able to logging in it. Okay, and cookie size is also very less. Okay, which can cause easy to brute force it. And cookie value is having some kind of a sensitive details like username and password within it. Even that pattern also will help an attacker to simply guess it. And majorly, okay, these all the, even if you apply these all the countermeasures, but if you are not putting the SSL certificate, which is transport layer certificate, and that is also gone. I mean, attackers can able to see the cookie value in a clear text. Okay, if it is in the SSL, then it will be in an encrypted way. It's difficult to guess them. But if it is non-SSL, it will be very easy for them to sniff it, right? It's very common, right? Like I guess you could have seen this in a many uh, like previously. like, do you know that whenever uh, whenever we used to copy and share any link to the our account, let's say for an example, you have a college website, okay, where you have to log in and check your results. Nowadays we are taking the screenshots and sharing it to the friends to share the result. But previously we used to just simply copy the URLs and send it to the friend. So as soon as the friends clicks on it, he'll be able to see our results. But if in case if he clicks on some other option, they'll be entering or prompting into our account. That is because the cookies and session IDs are actually inside the URL itself. Okay. Using the cookies and sending the cookies and passing the cookies in the URL is also one of the most vulnerable method. So nowadays 99% of the websites are not following it. Okay, but they are sending this session IDs and other values in the cookies. So attacker will take the advantage of these cookies if in case if there is any misconfigurations or whatever I said previously. Okay, without SSL, small values, guessable values. Okay, or any other extra vulnerabilities in the application, right? So with the help of that, he can able to enter into someone else session, guys. Okay, so this is the session hijacking attack. Hope you people have understand it. Okay, with the live example, like I just stolen those cookies and I reuse those cookies in the same browser in the with the help of the cookie manager. Okay, if you want me to do it once again, I'll do it, guys. Okay. Anyway, and the very most thing is like these cookie values are not changing for every different login attempt. Okay, so cookie values are remaining same. You can see I do log out from here. Okay, but if I go and add the same values and again here, okay, and if I refresh it, save it, mm, okay, after saving it, if I refresh it, you can see I'm simply logged in into test user, guys. Understand, guys, what is the session hijacking attack?
Yes. Can you tell me like how do they use this cookie manager? They will have to need.
Those cookie manager is an add-on in the Mozilla. You can just simply download it and you can
Okay.
try this.
So like I'll be using it on my own system, right? How do I use it to hijack someone else's system?
You need their
That
valid
cookie
cookies, then
value.
only you can able to. Sorry,
Okay. I mean, if
you
I could
need,
capture their cookies, then I could hijack, right?
yes. Okay, but in the real websites, what will happen is there will be many cookies. You have to identify the authentication cookie, and every time what will happen is if you go to the secured website, whenever you click on any page, the cookie value will get automatically changed for every request, and immediately that cookie value will expire after 1 or 2 seconds, and you will be not having the exact time, to lure into their session. Okay, this will only able to we can able to perform it on the vulnerable web application where this session related implementations are properly not implemented.
Okay, we can use this part suit to
When
intercept their pages, right?
Mhm. See, it's like, but if you see the Google like Gmail or something else, what will happen usually, uh, their cookie expiry times are little high comparing to any banking website. So in the banking website, if you're keeping your session interactive for 5 to 6 seconds, automatically it asks for the credentials. But even if you close the application directly without clicking on logging off, it will you know destroy those cookies in the backend. But when it comes to the Facebook and Gmail, once you, let's say you went to the internet cafe and you gave your credentials, but you thought of clicking on log off, you just simply close the tab directly and you came back to the home. But if the next person is going and accessing the same URL, their Facebook or Gmail, they'll be able to enter into your account, right?
Yes, they do store our emails unless and until you log off.
Yes. So that is also there. Okay, session hijacking is even possible that if you are not logging off, okay, from the websites where the session timeout is very high. It depends application to application. Even some applications will just only allow one user at a time to access it. Okay, some applications will give 5 users to access it. Okay, so it depends after analyzing the application functionalities. Then this kind of attacks, we have to simulate it as a tester. Okay, not an attacker point of view, but attacker will try to get this cookies in using different attacks. See, every time attacks will happen with the help of multiple attacks. It's like not with only one attack they can able to enter into the system. Okay, it's not like that. With the help of the 2 3 different vulnerabilities, they can able to take the control of someone else account, or they can able to compromise the system. Okay, so any questions? Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you're clear with this session hijacking attack, then I'll cover uh, another attack.
Okay, sir. You should continue, sir. Hello.
Okay, fine. So the next attack, which I'm going to discuss, is that is a very famous attack called as a cross-site scripting. Okay? So if you go to OAP's page, OAP's top 10 page, you will be able to see this you know cross-site scripting vulnerability at A7. Okay, if you go to OAP's top 10, you will be able to see the cross-site scripting vulnerability at A7. Okay, this one. So what is this cross-site scripting vulnerability? Is that cross-site scripting flaws occurs whenever an application includes untrusted data in a new web page without proper validations or escaping, or updates an existing web page with a user supplied data using a browser API that can create HTML or JavaScript. So if you go to any website, okay, and there will be many input parameters where it will ask the user to submit some kind of a details, right? So instead of expected values, attacker will try to submit untrusted data into it. If the application is not properly validating it or escaping it, okay, it is just simply updating with the malicious users update, malicious users supplied data, okay, in the front end, okay, to create HTML or JavaScript, attacker can able to execute, the malicious script over there. Okay, so I'll show you that practically. So cross-site scripting allows an attacker to execute the scripts in the victim browser, okay, which can hijack the user sessions, deface the web pages, or redirect the user to the malicious website. Okay, so just now we learned about the session hijacking, right? So with the help of, if in case if the web browser is having cross-site scripting stored vulnerability, so attackers can able to steal the valid cookies and they'll be able to hijack the user session also, okay, by executing the scripts in the victim browser. Okay, so let's do this practically so that you guys will be able to understand it. Okay, so here is the data. So okay, so in a generic way, how do we able to okay, so first let's discuss about what is it. Okay, so cross-site scripting, even we can call it as a XSS. It's a client-side attack, guys. Okay, because whenever the user injects some malicious input into the application, that will be and again executing in the client side itself. Okay, so the impact will be shown in the client browser. So it's a client side attack where the attacker will inject some malicious JavaScript into the web application by taking the advantage of unsanitized input. Okay, so if you go to any website, you will be having some input parameters, right? So if I go to this website, so the input parameters is this one. Search bar is an input parameter, and if I go to Ajax demo, no, we don't have anything over here. If I go to guest book, you can see here is the input field. If I go to your cart, no. Disclaimer, no. Artist, click on artist. There you can see here we have some parameter where it will take the user input. So you have to find a parameter, okay, where it is taking the user input. Then okay, let's say here the first one, search parameter. So in the search parameter, let's say this is a place which I wanted to test it. Then what you can give is, after identifying the parameters, okay, the testing parameters, you give some random value. Okay, I'm just giving the random value is RRRR. Okay, and send it to the server and check if it is there in the response. You can see here my data is in the response. It is reflecting back in the same page. You got my point. So here the developer is basically created this parameter to accept the user input, okay, by assuming that they'll be searching for something. So I'm searching for YYY. Okay, so here I can see YYY. So this is the place where you have to test it, guys. Okay, you have to find a parameter and you have to give an input, some random input to it. And if the input is reflecting back to you in the response, then that is a place where you can test for the cross-site scripting. Okay, how do we test is that? So with the help of the same values, YYY, okay, I'm gonna add a small payload, okay, which is JavaScript payload, okay, starting with the script tag, and ending with the script tag, and I have added the alert function in between. So script alert 1, copy, then after YYY, I'll add this script alert 1. Okay, I'll add the script alert 1 is my script. Go. See what happened? My YYYY is still reflecting over there. After that, whichever the script I have added that is executed part of code. Okay, it is not considering that input. Okay, is the data. It's just considering that uh, input has a script and it is executed. Got my point? So here attacker can able to write any script now. Okay, because that is executing in the server side without doing proper validations. Okay, he may able to use the another payload which can give the cookies as a pop-up also. Okay, so what I'm doing after ttt go, you can see the cookies also giving it as a pop-up. So attacker will not, this is for testing purpose guys, but attacker will not give some kind of a pop-ups like this. They will simply run some of the codes in the backend to steal those cookies, or to deface the web page, or to redirect the user to some other website, or even they can record the keyloggers as well. So it depending on the payloads what he is using. Okay, for an example, what I am gonna show you is how do we able to steal the same cookies from the user. So that I'm gonna use the Linux operating system as an attacker system over here. Okay, so with the help of the Linux operating system, I'm gonna steal those cookie values directly. Okay, with the help of the cross-site scripting vulnerability. You can see now. Let me give my credentials. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just check what is my IP address by giving the ifconfig. It's a 184. So here I have the payload guys. Okay, which can help which can show you the impact of this cross-site scripting vulnerability, which can help to perform the session hijacking also by stealing the valid cookies. So in this case, last time we used this payloads to take the output of cookies as a pop-up in an alert box. But now the same output, okay, document.cookies will be sent to an attacker systems, okay, in attacker system by adding a new image which is 0 pixel as a source. So basically, this script, this payload, okay, so this payload will create a new image which is 0 pixel and attached to the attacker's attacker's system. I will take the output as a document.cookie. So now let's copy this payload and put it into the vulnerable parameter over here. Before executing it, So it's gonna send the cookies to Kali Linux operating system, right? So I'll be just using a tool called Netcat. Netcat is a very famous tool which can help us to listen and which can help us to connect in any port, okay, TCP or UDP port on any port number. So using the netcat is NC hyphen L is for listening, V is for verbose, and P is for port number. So basically with the help of the netcat, I am listening on port number 80. Okay, and if this guy is